Hey, everybody. The theme this week that's evolved from several conversations is the first 5 years of the company legacy and the last 5 years of the founder or next generation that my dad never taught me regarding that family legacy. And the conversations that developed this week had to do with that lesson that I didn't learn from the first 5 years from my dad and our family company. And it's one that I've been practicing to get better at every year since we sold that family company many years ago. What he didn't teach me was what it meant to develop your purpose and your philanthropy as you're working. As we were starting the ownership, and we were the second generation owners of a restaurant business, and he was always focused on the numbers, the financial statements, and you probably recognize that. When he used to share those numbers with the employees, though, it was a rather antagonistic conversation. And part of it was because he didn't like to give speeches. And you may resemble that, as many CEOs who tell me, I don't want to give big speeches. I want to pay people what they're worth and let them do what they do well with the skills. And if I need to teach them, I will, but I don't want to give a big speech. And my dad never wanted to give a big speech. And what I found is a lot of those small conversations are really more helpful in understanding yourself and what your purpose is, other than being a financially disciplined person and looking at revenues and expenses, which are important. I'm not discounting it, but it was the purpose that he never taught me, in terms of developing the individual purpose that isn't just about the company, so that you can easily peel yourself away during the last 5 years and develop your own legacy without compromising the family company legacy. And I reflect on it because as I've met people along the way here in Chicago and getting to know more about their purpose and their company's purpose, I've developed a lot of friendships with people who've helped me to shape my philanthropy along the way, so that even though I'm a long way from retirement, I'm well underway with the activities of philanthropy without compromising profitability and performance. And I want to share a reflection that a good friend of mine who's been retired for many years shared with myself and several other friends in a little speech that he gave. He said, one of the ways to thrive in retirement is to divide your time up into thirds. And he said it's difficult to do it by a week or a month, but maybe by the quarter. And certainly over the course of a year, you can divide it up into thirds. And the thirds he described are go to work, give back, and goof off. And going to work means you got to contribute something. And whether it's to be within your company giving back in a new way, in an elevated role like the chairperson of your company, maybe a strategic partnering kind of a sales role, a person on the horizon, it takes a few years to set that up. And it can be some of the most rewarding work that you've done now, given all that you've done so far. And really the inspiration for Evoke growth, and why I named my company that, and what this whole conversation is about here today. And so recognizing ways to go to work, have something to do. You got to get up and do something. You can't just play golf every day. And giving back is a way to relate those two things together. And this is what I found in my work, inspired by Hill, my friend who's retired, as well as other friends I've made here in developing this going to work and giving back. And it's a wonderful way to make sure that you're not working 12 and 16-hour days, as I was even as an employee in the family company, doing the hustle and making sure that we're getting things done and really successful and executing with customers, and even bringing those new people into the fold so they understand our tradition and how we do things around here, and teaching people the way, whether it's in sales or operations or whatever aspect of the company it is. As I'm doing this work and I'm getting involved in the company, I'm developing myself and recognizing who I am. And the ambition that I thought, when I was not learning from my dad enough in that family legacy, I went into another family company and I became a bull in a china shop, thinking I've got to be so ambitious now because my dad didn't teach me these things. I've got to find it out myself. And my first mentor said, Bob, you're kind of breaking the tradition around here. You're like a bull in a china shop, and you're actually burning bridges before you even get to the river. he said, let me show you how you get involved in the tradition here and show some respect for other people without compromising your ambition. And it was a great way to temper the ambition and learn about patience and what it means to make that commitment. And over the years, what's led to the last 5 years in my planning and execution and thoughtfulness, just about being curious, which is really, I think, the message here for the last 5 years, in doing it now rather than waiting until you're at that 5 year mark where you think, what am I going to do now? Is being curious about the possibilities of how you can learn in ways to give back, or even just learn about the possibilities of what is in your neighborhood, who you know, and some of those conversations where you're goofing off on a golf course with people, or maybe a casual conversation after work, can help set up that philanthropy. And those conversations about getting involved in the community, and maybe even helping other people in your company to get involved, to create a greater sense of purpose within the company. So the curiosity message is the takeaway for me, and I encourage you to do it. I'll be sharing more about it over the next few weeks. Something I'm working on here in Chicago, and I think it's something we can share together in terms of building philanthropy and purpose without compromising profitability and performance. So more to come on that. In the meantime, what I didn't learn from my dad in the first 5 years, recognizing who you are and your purpose, and helping other people to get involved, and maybe even inviting some other conversations by meeting people to develop your purpose well in advance of those 5 years, and develop a community of people in terms of what that philanthropy looks like, and how your role might even be evolving right now to shape it up in the next 10 years to 15 years. So the last 5 years isn't a surprise, and you're not looking at playing golf or dying with your boots on. So anyway, so get involved in philanthropy, be curious about people, learn about their stories, and not just about the About page on the website, but real stories about who they are. And you'll find pathways to your philanthropy in ways you never expected, so you don't have to worry about dying with your boots on. Anyway, more to come on profit and purpose without compromising either one. Thanks. Talk to you soon.